बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ, जैसे पेड़ खजूर, पंक्ति को छाया नहीं, फल लागे अति दूर कबीरा, फल लागे अति दूर। बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ, जैसे पेड़ खजूर, पंक्ति को छाया नहीं, फल लागे अति दूर कबीरा, फल लागे अति दूर। Very beautifully said. If you are big, so what? It's the title has been got from the very first line. Bada hua to kya hua? If you think you are big and successful and rich, so what? So he says, if you are big, so what? Jaise paid khajur, just like a date tree. What does it do? Doesn't provide any shade for the travelers. Panthi ko chaya nahi, phal lage ati dur. The fruit is hard to reach. So what, man? You fellow, you think too big of yourself. You are just like a date tree. It doesn't provide any shelter, any comfort for the much needed travelers. Nor is the fruit that you hold is easy to reach. It's too far beyond. Thanks, Ma. So I'm sure you're all able to relate to a date tree. Huh? So this is a picture of a date tree. Thanks to Robert Perry. How can I not be thankful to Robert Perry? Because when I wanted a decent picture, this picture was there, and he copyrighted it saying Robert Perry. So I'm remembering Robert Perry and making him famous also. Thanks to Robert Perry. So thanks, Robert, for giving us this wonderful picture of the date tree. So you see the ground. There's so much sunlight. In spite of so many trees, there's so much sunlight, and the fruit is not reachable because the kind of trunk it has got, you can't even scale it to even reach it. So what is the analogy here? It's a very beautiful analogy of whom? I would like to ask Shushmama. Yes,
Hello,
Ma, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, if I have a lot of money or influence, whatever, and if I cannot even help other people, it is useless my having it. And even the money, if I have, I will die leaving it all behind, and no one will make any use of it. So it is, if God has blessed me with all the resources, and if I'm not able to help other people, I think I don't know to use the right word.
You have the liberty to use a strong word here, Ma.
No, then I'm a miser, and God should have never blessed me with that. I didn't deserve all that. And as we talk about the next life, I will have to pay for that. Maybe I'll be born in a poor family where I will know what it is not to have even 2 meals a day. And if I cannot sort of feel the pain of the people, I mean, whatever my resources are, if I cannot help those people, then I'm leading a very useless life. That's what I can say.
Absolutely. So the Kabir ji, when he draws this analogy to a date tree. Whom is he trying to highlight? What is it that he's trying to highlight, which is actually very, very a common aspect in life and we experience? What is he trying to highlight? As he says, the date tree doesn't provide any shade to the traveler. Vis-a-vis, imagine a banyan tree. It is known for its comfort and shade it gives, So it doesn't provide that, nor its fruits are easily accessible. So what is he trying to compare? The analogy talks of what kind of a person? Sushmama?
Pardon? Guruji, I didn't get the question.
No, I'm only asking this analogy of that date tree, what kind of a person it's trying to highlight?
It's trying to highlight a person who has lot of means, but he's useless because he's not helping anybody. Whatever he's got, he cannot feel the pain of others. He cannot feel the need of others, and he's a very selfish person.
That's it, correct. A person with means and avenues and possibilities chooses not to create that possibilities for others, which is only trying to tell of selfishness. And when we talk of selfishness, thanks, Ma. Thank you. Lovely hearing those lovely wise words of yours. So when we talk of selfishness, what is it that should concern you and me here? This verse is not for me to sit in judgment and point fingers at others. None of it. The entire study is not meant for us to sit in judgment and judge others. But what should be concerning here to us? The concerning factor for all of us should be, there is that element of selfishness in me as well. I have also reached certain echelons of success. I have also created certain fortunes. I have created certain possibilities and opportunities. But what am I doing? Am I making it available? Am I creating that opportunity? Am I sharing those privileges with others? Or am I keeping it for myself and my kith and my kin? That's all. If at all I do, it is just to appease my conscience. It would be 0.1%, 2% of my wealth that I have amassed and I'm amassing. I give only to appease my conscience, not to really blossom with that, in that act of giving. That should be the concerning factor. Yes, Mahendraji.
I think that the date tree got a bad rap from Kabirji because it might not be within the control of date tree to have more leaves and give shades to the travelers and have the fruits which are very easily accessible. That's the way the tree naturally.
Yes.
And rather than respecting that the tree is doing what is natural to the tree, Kabirji is giving a bad rap to the tree.
No, the style of the scriptures or the gurus, I get where you're coming from, sir. But the style of the gurus or the shastras is they use what is a methodology of teaching is through comparison. That methodology of teaching is known as upamana in Sanskrit. That's one of the methodologies. So when you compare, you're trying to draw certain aspects of comparison. But when you use an aspect of comparison, it is not to demean or it is not to tarnish an image. Now, for example, in the Shastras, in Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankaracharya, in the text Bhajagovindam, which we recently concluded, is like a profound text. The theme of the text is acquisition and enjoyment. Please mark my words. I'm saying that when these masters use the methodology to compare, they're conveying through this concept of upamana, which is comparison. And when they compare, it is not to demean or wrongly implicate that which is being compared. Now, a reference I'm taking is in Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankaracharya, and the entire text is trying to convey two motivations of mankind. He calls them as acquisition and enjoyment. Now, he symbolizes acquisition as kanchana, as wealth. Now, the interesting thing is he symbolizes enjoyment as kamini, woman. Now, if we were to take the argument as you have presented, then Adi Shankaracharya is demeaning woman, is degrading woman, is putting woman at a very low pedestal by saying, symbolizing woman as enjoyment, as an object of enjoyment. He's not objectifying woman there. On the contrary, it is only perhaps the Hindus, there's nothing Hindu about it, our scriptures. We call the knowledge as Mother Lakshmi. We worship the goddess Lakshmi. We call it the Mother Gita. The Shastras talk of the daughter of Himalayas as Uma. In the Kenopanishad, we talk of it. So the Shastras are upholding woman at a very high pedestal. They give it the mother status. But yet the concept, when he's trying to convey, when he symbolizes enjoyment as woman, is not degrading woman or objectifying woman. So when Kabirji says a date tree, it's not that he had a bitter experience with the date tree. He's only trying to convey a certain aspect so that when we go through our experiences in day-to-day life, we are able to relate the concept and imbibement, not more to brand something or criticize. I thought it is right for me to justify the approach these masters have taken, and you need to study them in great detail to be able to understand where they're coming from. So please don't, it should not be misunderstood in that way, sir, please. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll appreciate. Thank you, sir. Okay. So the verse, as Sushmama rightly said, it talks about a person who is successful, who thinks himself big, who thinks himself wealthy, but all of it is of no consequence because it's of no use to others. All if you acquire and you keep it for yourself. In fact, the very famous words of Oliver Goldsmith, where wealth accumulates, men decay. Wealth becomes the instrument of your spiritual decadence, spiritual decomposition. You destroy yourself spiritually if you acquire wealth and allow it to stay put without being of any use to a cause beyond yourself. So wealth per se is not wrong, but if you acquire it, accumulate for your own self, it brings about your own downfall. The famous words of Bhajagovindam, artham anartham. Wealth is a calamity, my dear. You should know how to deal with it. I will come back to this verse just to examine how we all could address the existing selfish element in us. So to what extent are you doing acts just to appease your conscience? Or are you inspired to live a life to serve a larger cause? Oh, I've sent my contribution for this month. I have done for this person, I have done for that. You are keeping a record of your transactions to feel yourself great about it. This is not giving, please. Mm. Don't do that to falsely pacify yourself. There's a lot more that you can shed your ego and your selfishness to grow. Right? Sushma ma, my hand is hurting, Sushma ma. What is this? You should get to know that feature, ma. Oh my God, at this age, she's holding that hand for 3 minutes. Gayatri ma, you are to be blamed. You have to call Sushma ma after the class, get on to a Zoom private class with her and teach her how, ma, you please put down your hand, ma, first.
Can you hear
At 80,
me?
yeah.
I just wanted to share a line my earlier guru said. She used to say, "दो हाथ से कुमाओ और हजार हाथ से बांटो." So,
क्या बात है?
because somebody asked that, in doing that, we should, in the Gita somewhere it says, don't go out and seek more wealth and something. There was some verse like that. So this person asked in the satsang, then that means we should stop earning and all that and only sit and study and all. So she said, no, if you have the capacity to work and earn, दो हाथ से कमाओ जितना कमा सकते हो, पर हजार हाथ से उसको बांटो. Not to keep only for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. So well said. Just to
that,
try,
I remember that this was probably I heard it for 25 years ago, but I still remember it.
Yeah. These great words are not to be forgotten, and I'm sure you have never forgotten it. And thanks for sharing. In fact, just to translate, it loses its charm if you translate. But what she said is, you earn with two hands, but you distribute it to 1,000 hands. It means you find multitude of ways and means. You don't wait for an opportunity to knock at you. You create opportunities to serve. You don't wait until somebody comes and says, sir, can you help me? Then I will do something. No, don't wait. If you really want to do, you will create opportunities. And that's what she said. In 1,000 ways you can give, but in 2 ways you can earn. It's a very
Guruji,
it's a
something
very
I want,
weak interpretation. Yes, ma.
I want to share something, but I don't want anybody to think I'm bragging about myself. But I'm
No, we
just
will never
telling you
think
a
that way.
thought. I have a maid working for me for about a few months. And while talking about her family, she comes from a very West Bengal, very poor family. And she was telling me that she got her daughter married and she had to pay 3 lakhs for the dowry or whatever. And they had no money. She had to take karza leke. She paid. And then she's told me this, they also have to pay this, a very high interest to pay back. So she said in the last 3 years, she has only paid back half the money because every month she has to also pay the interest or whatever you call it. And she said, I still have to pay 1,50,000. And she had asked me how it started. And she started me, can you raise my pay a little bit? And she had only worked with me for 3-4 months. So I said, I'll see maybe after 6 months. Then at night, I was just thinking, if I had to pay 1.5 lakhs and my salary is only 15,000 a month, I will not, my whole life, I'll be only, how can this woman sleep at night? And believe me, I had a very disturbed sleep. I couldn't sleep properly thinking about her. And I was just thinking, if I'm feeling so bad, what would she be going through? And she's sitting from West Bengal, she's sitting in my house, thousands of miles away and working for me. And the next thing I did is I said, you find out your bank account and whichever way can we submit money. And by NEF, I sent her 1.5 lakhs for my own peace. I don't know what it did to her. But I felt next 2, 3 nights I couldn't sleep, thinking if I was in that position, what could have happened to me. So, but I don't want anybody to feel I'm just trying to make myself feel big and anything. I'm just telling you that you have to, unless you feel the pain of the other person, I don't think you can really go out and do something. Or you have to put yourself in that position.
Please speak more, no?
What to say, Guruji, I can't. Because
No,
it
no,
sounds as if I'm blowing my own trumpet. I don't want to do that.
no.
I always,
I
I
get
pray to
you.
the Lord that I should be always grateful that he's given me so much more than my needs. But please, God, bless me with a large heart that I should be able to help whoever I find. And then I should not have the ego. I should be grateful to that person that he's helped me to do a good turn. मैं उऋण हो रही हूँ. Maybe in my last janam, maybe I owed that money to person. I don't know. How does it make me feel? Maybe I owed that money to her in my last janam. I don't know. So I always pray that I should not be stingy. I should have a large heart and I should be able to part with the money. And I keep praying that. That's all I can do.
No. In fact, no. I don't think I have misunderstood. I don't think anybody on the platform would ever misunderstand the intent with which you shared that lovely experience. In fact, what you actually shared is exactly the opposite, the mirror image of this. Exactly the opposite of what Kabir is trying to convey through the analogy. What you have experienced, the real takeaway for me is not that parting of 1.5 lakh. I don't know how many of them have noted that. It is the sleeplessness you had when you experienced, when that information came to you. That talks volumes of what you are, and that purity and that act of service. That I don't think that is easy to emulate, and we would love to emulate that quality. How you are sleepless over others' challenges, and knowing that, saying that you said you hardly knew her past few months, but yet it's not as much as in the act, but that experience is what is too grand, is too rare, I must say. I'm glad. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for sharing. I think we have just come to time. We will come back, but there's so much to ponder. It only leaves us in a reflective state, so that the reflective phase rather, so that you start pondering, and how well and how soon you could instill these profound principles, because the next action you perform, you will have an opportunity to implement it. All right, we'll come back. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.